Alright, let's begin the ComfUI class. Recently, ComfUI has officially launched a brand new, highly anticipated cloud-based service. So last time when we extensively utilized ComfUI, we primarily did it through the dedicated call application. However, now since it is fully cloud-based and readily accessible, you can also conveniently use it directly on the web browser, offering much greater flexibility and ease of access. ComfUI is currently in beta, but it's still very useful and you can do all your work with it. And now some tasks that couldn't be done in Colab can be done here, while in some cases things that work in Colab might not work here. Since there are these differences, I want to give you an overall explanation of what does and doesn't work. You just need to launch Comfy Cloud. When you run ComfyUI, for most of you, the template screen will appear at first. The template screen looks like this. You can just close this template screen as it is. ComfyUI works well, but to actually run it, if you look at the top right corner, you can only truly use it if you pay a $20 monthly subscription fee. And since ComfyUI plays a truly important and significant role in almost all modern AI applications now, it inherently possesses a robust API system. So you can readily utilize various services like Bowery, Kling, and numerous other advanced video AIs, but when you actively use those particular kinds of sophisticated AIs, your valuable and precious credits will inevitably be consumed. So I'll show you how to operate it. With ComfyUI, you can create your own nodes, solve problems using ComfyUI, and further develop your own artwork. So I highly recommend you follow along with this ComfyUI course. Let's get started. First, when ComfyUI starts up, now why is this over here? Just a moment. Alright, it's done. When you run ComfyUI, you'll see that it starts with a template like this. First, please turn off the template. Now let's take a look at the settings and configurations in ComfyUI to see what they are. First, if you look at the bottom right corner of ComfyUI, you'll see something called the Viewfinder, which allows you to display certain things on the screen. For example, like a map. If you look at something, you can display a mini map like this. So this square is called a node, and you can identify the position of this node and also align it to the center. You can adjust its size, move it with the mouse, and you can also drag and move it around like this. To bring up a node, simply double-click on the black area with the left mouse button. Let's try bringing up a node. If you click on a node, it will be deleted to the trash can. Next is the information. Then there's a description of the node information displayed, but it's written in gibberish. And then, if you try to search for the node information like this, it causes the program to lag. So instead of doing it this way, refresh the page, and when you need node information, you can just ask ChatGPT to explain that node. You can also try searching for it directly here. For example, if you type in the same name, like checkpoint, the checkpoint node will appear. So for the diffusion model checkpoint node guide, if you click learn more about this checkpoint in this way, it will pop up like this again, but don't do it like this. It will lag again, so refresh the page. If you click on the node, you can then change its color. You can freely change it to any color you want, like green for example. Next, you can also reduce the size of the node, and this is the hide function, which lets you hide the node like this. You can also expand a node that you previously hid. This is the bypass function, which makes the node inactive. It's there, but it doesn't operate. You'll get a better sense of what this means as you use it more. That wraps up the explanation about nodes. As for the node view, you can freely turn it on and off as you like. To show you how to hide links, for example, a link is... If you look here, this is what's called a link, and these dots here are called slots, and you can hide these slots. So even though it looks like they're not connected, they actually are. As things get more complex, you can adjust these kinds of settings. You can delete things and you can zoom in like this. You can also keep the minimap turned on if you want. Next, if you look on the left, there's something called assets. Assets are a feature that lets you load the environments or work you've previously done. You can check the results of your previous work here. You can see what kind of work you've done like this. Next, the queue is a space where you can check what's currently in the queue or what's running when you press execute. Next, nodes are, as mentioned earlier, the types of nodes related to load information, and the nodes that you have, they are set up like this. But since this is cloud-based, it only includes the nodes managed within the Compute UI. So if there's a node you want to have, you can make a request in the feedback section, and in some cases, they'll add the node within about 3 days. I asked them to add something called the advanced note, and they added it 3 days later. So I thought, wow, that's amazing. If it goes like this, then the disadvantage... Now, it seems like I can set up all the necessary nodes here, and then as for information about the models, you need suitable models to operate these nodes. You need trained files, and this section deals with information about those files. You can take a look at these things, but they're not that important. Next, the workflow section allows you to save your workflow here. If you look at the top, you can click Save in the File menu to save your current work here. However, ComfyUI is set to autosave by default. Next is the template section. These templates are basic workflows provided by ComfyUI, either for study purposes or, for example, as Image API and Video API templates. If you provide a certain amount of credits, you can use features like cleaning up your work and more, thanks to the support these templates offer. So you can think of it as being able to use all other AI services with just ComfyUI alone. You see this, right? Like this from Pixbus to Runway, there are a variety of options, right? So as long as an API is provided, you can use all of them. And then whether it's 3D, audio, or LLMs, which are large language models, thank you. You can see that Gemini and ChatGPT are included. So you can use language models as well. It seems like you can use them when creating prompts, but anyway. Next, at the top of the template section, you can see all the templates as a whole. Next, under Getting Started, there are workflows prepared that are suitable for people who are running the computer for the first time to follow as a tutorial. Then, under Image, there are also nodes prepared that you can use for free in ComfyUI, just like before. The same goes for videos. There are both free and paid videos available for use in ComfyUI. You can check them out, and for paid ones, if you look at the top, this one seems to be free. Since this one looks free, I'll turn it off, and for example, if you look at these, you'll see a $sign displayed here. That means when you actually use this, about this amount will be deducted. It says Nano Banana Pro here, so that's how much will be used up. And if you run out of credits, you can recharge them separately and purchase more in dollar amounts, so it's very cost effective. With ComfyUI, you can use actors, you can use backgrounds, you can use everything, so it's really convenient, right? It's really excellent. Great. First, if we take a look at the image models, you can use them by clicking on these template-based options. Starting from Flux, there are things like Z-Image Turbo included here. It looks like all the basic options and so on are visible. If you look at the video section, there are also control models like OneBase available. This is also interesting, and then there are a lot of One models as well. There's also One ATI and other things like that visible here. I'll start by selecting Getting Start first. Here, let's first try out the new text-to-image model and then the image-to-video feature, these two. We're going to try using the Quan image model, and when you select the template, it will pop up like this. Looking at this node, it seems to be hidden, but if you reveal it like this, you'll see that the nodes are connected in a rather complex way. You can group them again like this. This way you can arrange it to make it easier for yourself to see, and if you press Ctrl+Z, everything moves back to its original position. As you can see here, the commands are written out. If you click the Run button at the top, the workflow will operate inside, and based on this prompt, it will generate an image. This is how the image is produced here. The entire process of creating the image is included like this. It seems that it's set up to work this way. And this task doesn't consume any credits. It doesn't seem to incur any additional costs. The $15.40 balance remains unchanged. If you check here, you can see the speed graph for image generation as well. You can see how long it takes, and actually the text-to-image feature called Quan is really excellent. Text-to-image works really well, but let's see if it also works well with Korean prompts. Let me go ahead and run it once. Normally ComfyUI supports English prompts, but it looks like it works with Korean prompts too. It seems to have generated the image with its own unique texture like this. So it seems like it's just about at this level, which is nice. Anyway, it's interesting to see that Korean prompts work. When you're creating images, you can just use the sample images like this. If you look at the specifications, they're written like this, but for the specs, you can just adjust them freely as you like. Let's try setting it to 720 this time and run it. That should give us a thumbnail ratio, right? at this level, the generation speed seems to be quite excellent. I'm trying out the API system now. It created it with the feeling that there's a driver, like someone is driving. Next, since the step is set to 4, the batch size feature lets you generate several images at once like this. If you increase the batch size, you can check multiple images at once with the same prompt. You see? 4 images have been generated, and you can view them by moving your mouse and keyboard. Since there doesn't seem to be a maximum limit like this, it looks like you can generate images freely. Anyway, it seems that the Quan image model works like this, and since we need to look at the API features in this template, I think we can try them out one by one. Every time you load a template, you can see that these windows appear at the top like this. And additionally, you can also create more windows yourself. You see? Like this. Let's also take a look at what kind of structure this has. If something is running in this window, you shouldn't press run again on the left side. You can only work in one window at a time. That's how computer UIs work, so just finish your work here first and then move on to the next task. I think that's the way to do it. I think it's quite excellent. It's very good. Let's see if it works with Korean prompts. Okay, the standard is 2048 by 2048, right? And then I don't think we need to look at anything else. Where is the batch size section for 2048 by 2048? I can't see it. Are they just making this up too? The image that came out based on a K-pop idol is really excellent. It's rendered with a realistic feel, so I'll try writing the prompt in a bit more detail. I'll try mixing English and Korean prompts. Let's take a look at how the image is generated. It's excellent. It seems to give off a portrait or ID photo vibe, and the face doesn't really change. Judging by the lack of big changes, I think this model has its own unique characteristics. I'll try Korean and Japanese now. It looks like this is a Japanese face. Is it good enough that I don't even need to upscale it? It kind of does it like this. Now, I'll try a Korean woman again. And if you press Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V on this node, it gets copied. For me, the preview usually gets copied and shows up together like this. But it seems like this doesn't work on Colab or in the cloud. You can kind of feel that unique vibe of the face coming through. Anyway, looking at it, it seems to be quite good. It looks like image generation works too, so I'll try changing the length. Since image generation is free, you can conveniently use it like this to adjust the ratio. I'll also try to see if it works in Korean. The proportions are accurate and the face doesn't change. That's right. The face definitely has its own unique features. I think this is probably a characteristic of this zero image model. So you can use these templates provided here for free and without any limits. If you have a ComfUI subscription, then the question is, can you also create videos? So at the top of the template under Getting Started, there's an image to video option, and we're going to try using the WAN 2.214b model. The prompt is already filled in. When you load the node, if you look inside, it's obviously structured in a more complex way. As you can see, the structure is quite complex like this. Since it's hard to view, I think we should collapse the lines again. I'll press Ctrl-Z to restore it to the original state and then try running it. The video generation speed also seems to be quite good. If you look at the bottom of the video, it's set to 1280 by 720, so it seems you need to produce it in HD quality. Next, the frame is 81 frames, but this specification means that, depending on the format, if it's square, it's 1280 by 1280, or 720 by 720. And if it's for shorts, it's 720 by 1280. So 1280 by 720 means it's in landscape orientation, so just keep that in mind. The fact that it's set to 81 frames means that the video being produced is about 5 seconds long. That's why you shouldn't touch this 81 setting. You should produce it as is. Let's check how the video turns out. It looks like it's being produced, and I really like how it's immediately displayed at the top. At this level, it's really neat, and I think it's great. It's really good. The video has been generated. As expected, it came out to be 5 seconds long. You can clearly see the greeting motion. The movement itself is really excellent. There's no sound, so I'll try editing the prompt. I'll test whether Korean prompts work. I'm going to press the run button. Next, I check to make sure that credits are not being used up. So when you're using the features in the template, If you see a dollar sign at the top, it means it will cost money, and if there's no dollar sign, you can use it for free. So you can distinguish between free and paid features that way and use them accordingly. Of course, besides that, you can also use Beiwu or Click, so just use them as needed. Since this is probably your first time using ComfyUI Cloud, we're going to try out some simple things together, like the ZImage and QuanImage templates, and then use the image to video 1 and 2.14b features. We're testing them out one by one like this. Besides that, you can also try using other templates if you want. In this lecture, we'll just try out about 3 of them as a sample and then wrap up. Let's watch the video once it's out. The prompt is doing hip hop in Korean, so let's see if it recognizes it properly. It's currently being generated inside. Let's open it up and take a look. I'm curious. Great. You can see that it's in Chinese, right? So Korean should work as well. It's halfway through the generation process now. Normally, if you expand the nodes, it shows where each task is being performed. It usually shows up as a green binder like this, but since it's not showing now, I guess sometimes it works in the cloud and sometimes it doesn't. It looks like it's about to come out now. It says complete, right? Is this hip-hop? Anyway, right? Isn't it cute? I'm not sure what's going on, but it seems like the Korean prompt isn't being recognized properly. I'll try it again. I'll try making it wave by hand. Yes, so like this, you can see that the work is being processed in green. By looking at things like this, you can check where in the process the work is currently at. Actually, all AIs can be managed from the ComfyUI, so you can check them there, and you can just remove unnecessary things like these if you don't want to see them. Since this is just the manual, let's take a look at it when the video comes out. Okay, it seems the Korean prompt is recognized. Why 3 fingers, or is it 4? Oh, that's cute. Anyway, it's a hand wave. The Korean prompt was recognized. But in general, it's probably better to use English prompts. So now we've just lightly started with Computer Cloud. In the next part, we'll go a bit deeper and move up step by step.